Taking up time. Can I say this? First of all, most black people who commit crimes against other black people go to jail. Number two, they are not sworn by the police department as a agent of the state to uphold the law. So in both cases, that's a false equivalency that the mayor has drawn, which has exacerbated tensions that are deeply embedded in American culture. Black people who kill black people go to jail. Black people who kill black people go to jail. White people who are policemen who kill black people do not go to jail. If a jury can indict a ham sandwich, why is it taking so long?
Mr. Mayor, let me ask you, it's the trust issue, though. This is a trust issue.
It's hardly insignificant.
I didn't say it was insignificant. I said it was out of proportion in your false equivalency, sir.
It is the reason for the heavy police presence in the black community.
Not at all.
93%.
The police presence cannot make a distinction between those who are criminals and those who call the police to stop the criminals.
What about the poor black child that is killed by another black child? Why aren't you protesting that?
Those people go to jail. I do protest it. I'm a minister. They go to jail. Why don't you talk about the way in which white policemen have undercut the ability of Americans to live?
So why don't you cut it down so many white police officers don't have to be in black areas?
They don't have to be. It's a matter of the effect of the state occupying those forces, sir.
How about 70 to 75% of the crime in my city?
How about your attitude reinforces the problematic perspective that prevails in the culture, sir?
This is a debate. How about you reduce crime?
This is a debate.
When I become mayor, I'll do that.
Wait,
the white police officers won't be there if you weren't killing each other.
Look at this.
Hang on.
This is the defensive mechanism of white supremacy at work in your mind.
Wow, man.
Man. 92% of blacks are killed by other blacks.
And 84% of whites are killed by other whites.
You know, and that's the thing. That's the thing that's kind of scary. You know, it's really sad, Marjorie, that you only hear about black on black crime, but you don't hear about white on white crime.
No, it's called wars.
You know, I mean, really and truly. So here's an article. Do you have this? You remember this article on breakingbrong.com?
No.
White on white crime is on the rise. So where's the outrage? By Faith Walker.
Oh, yes. And there were other articles that was linked to that when that was sent to me today about that.
But let's read that one. Can anyone shed light on the media fixation with the so-called black on black homicide? You wouldn't know it by listening to mainstream media, but black on black homicide has actually dropped from a high of 94% in 1990 to 91.3% in 2012. That may not seem significant until you realize that white on white homicide has risen during the same period. In addition, if you listen to the likes of Fox News, black are not only murdering each other, but they are killing off the white race in their spare time. However, statistics clearly shows that while black may be murdering each other, whites are engaged in the same behavior. James Robbins' response to the Zimmerman trial used FBI data to prove the fact. In his article, White on Black Murder, Who's Really is Killing Whom, he states the following. According to the most recent 2011 FBI statistics, of the 2,695 murders in which the victim was black, 91% were committed by the people of the same race. Odds are, if the victim was wearing a hoodie, the perp was too. The same pattern of interracial violence holds for whites. 83% of white murders in 2011 were within race killings, and only 14% were black on white. Those data tells us that murder in America is decidedly not a matter of racial hatred. Do you hear that?
Uh-huh.
The misrepresentation about crime only breeds more unfounded fear of black America. Whites are more likely to respond with fear to blacks and respond with force, even when they are in no immediate danger themselves. The recent shooting of Jonathan Farrell and Renisha McBride showed the danger of being black while seeking help. In both cases, they were killed by frightened whites. There are intellectuals who are attempting to wake up white America, such as Tim Wise, my good friend Tim Wise.
Your good friend.
That you don't like.
I didn't say so. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yes. Who points out to his fellow white Americans that they are more in danger of being killed by another white person than a black person. he delves specifically into the issue with his articles. Nazis can do much reflection of racism, crime, and illiteracy of right-wing statistical analysis. For instance, white kill whites 3,252 times. 4.6 times more than the number of whites killed by blacks. Why no generalized fear of white people then? Why assume that black on white murder, which occurs about 1/5 as often, somehow portends some larger social trend, while white on white murder is merely random, individual, and signifies nothing more important socially at all? Why? Because racists are racist. That's why. White statements are greeted by disbelief from his counterparts. Instead of embracing the irrefutable truth, they try and disprove facts. They use smoke and mirror Matt to disprove his statements. When their Matt is questioned, they claim that white simply hates his own race. Why else, they question, will he post such things? They will not accept the truth of his statement, which is what whites are killing whites in record numbers. At one point in 2012, white on white homicide was recorded at 88%. Black on black remained steady at 91%. Each of these percentages is unacceptable. It should be called to action, but it's not. Black people must be aware that they are no better or worse than the white counterpart. As long as the perception is that it's a black on black problem, the alarm isn't being raised. As long as white America feels safe in the knowledge that it's not their problem, the stats will continue to climb and the death toll rise. Only when white America realizes that it too has a problem will it become an American problem. Until then, whites, blacks, and browns will continue on this race-destructive path. And I tell you, you will never see an article like this in mainstream media. Why is that?
It's easier to sell black people as criminals. But, it's part of the, dehumanization of us. And then they say, well, blacks are killing themselves. And that line that Rudy Giuliani ran, it's a very typical line. Look at you guys, you're always killing each other. Why are you worried about?
You see, but Marjorie, I got to be honest with you. Before I read this article, I would have believed what Giuliani said. That 93% of blacks are killed by other blacks. So and I wouldn't have made the relationship with the white on white crime. I would not. So you see, what it is that, and I keep saying this over and over, if the mainstream media continues to tell you that black on black crime is 93% and doesn't tell you that white on white crime is 88%, you come to the conclusion that black people are killing black people and it makes a white person fear a black person. When that the possibility of a black person killing a white person is almost minimal. So the media gives you this perception that these black males are scary. That's why the police, you see the 12-year-old guy that had the 12-year-old kid that had a toy gun that was just killed, right?
No.
This is a 12-year-old kid that had a toy gun. He was just shot dead.
Does this happen today? Yesterday?
This happened over the weekend. This just happened over the weekend. Questions and outrage swirling in Cleveland after police shot and killed 12-year-old black boy who was holding a toy gun. And listen to this. There is a video now of this guy in he was in a restaurant. 2 police officers. They try to tase him. They try to do all that stuff to him. And he got away. and they didn't draw their gun. Not even a small, minimal percentage of the time to even think. He didn't even think about going for his gun. They had a taser trying to tase him. 2 cops against 1 guy.
This guy's white, I guess.
Thank you very much, Margie. You see, you're very intelligent. I know that.
No, just that cue card you were holding up that I could see.
Yeah, I'm just. You see, I'm giving you the cue, right? And it's all over Facebook, and I posted it on our page. In that, the guy was in the restaurant. They told the guy, "Put your hands behind your back so we can handcuff you." He didn't. He got up and he was punching the cop. I swear to God, punching the cop. There was another cop standing about 5 feet away from him. He did not draw his pistol. Did not. He was using the taser gun to tase him. So I posted it on Facebook and I asked the question, doesn't this make you ask that question? I didn't say anything. I just, because, sometimes when you put stuff out there, people think, you think something. I said, doesn't it make you ask the question? You know what the question is? So what I'm doing, I'm just trying to get people to think. I'm just trying to get people to open your mind and think. If that was, he might have been dead.
Well, you talk about black on black violence. So there's this psychological, pathological answer that we're looking for. But when you talk about white on white violence, first of all, no one talks about that. They're not looking at it as some pathos or something psychologically wrong with the community and trying to come up with some historical answer. But people kill people that are closest to them, that live near them, and generally they know the murderers from what I understand, or knew them. Well, so, I don't know. Giuliani, that's a way to, he didn't answer the question was how could you make the police force more integrated in these communities? Add some diversity, is your word, keyword, to the police force. But, a cop is a cop.
It is crazy. And you know something? Let's listen to this one. This tells you how we can skew things in order for you to see something.
We got 3 minutes before they break out with
the info. I know. In order for us to skew things, to see how you can, show things, it's like a mirage. You know a mirage?
Yes.
You think you're seeing something, but it's not really. Let's take a listen to this audio.
If you want to convince a group of people that everything about them is negative, what you have to do is tell them where they're from is a negative place. And this is what they've done to black people. They say, black people, you're negative, you're bad, because Africa is negative and Africa is bad. So the images that we have of Africa, we always see the underbelly. We always see the propaganda. We always see the warfare, but they never show the other side.
One of the things that I've discovered about conquered people is that most conquered people have had their ancestral memory erased. And they only know what missionaries or enslavers have taught them. And usually it's negative.
There is good, there is bad, there is advancement, and there is a lack of advancement in all cultures. The problem is that this society tends to want to show you the extended belly of a baby in Ethiopia. It wants to show you the negativity of Africa.
People think Africa and Asia and Guatemala, Southern America, these places were all jungle. Jungle came after the invasions of European colonialism. Then the jungles came in because nobody was manning the land anymore.
Look at the map. Just this map tells you alone that the great majority of Africa is grassland. It shows you right here. It's grassland, no jungle. In fact, the Everglades, by proportion, there's more jungle in the Everglades than there is proportionately in Africa, and that's in Florida.
There's more jungle in Europe and in Asia than there is in Africa. Without a doubt, Africa has its wetlands, it has its greenery, some of the most beautiful animal and animal kingdoms in the world. But most of Africa is not jungle.